Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. Last season, Lauri Markkanen was linked to the Warriors, but the trade never materialized. Suggestions are again emerging that the Warriors could offer a substantial trade package to the Utah Jazz, seeking Lauri Markkanen to join Stephen Curry and make the Warriors a championship favorite. As the Golden State Warriors sought out another star prior to their acquisition of Jimmy Butler, a name that was floated for multiple seasons was that of Lauri Markkanen, the towering forward for the Utah Jazz. Now, after a down year that had many doubting if he would be able to live up to the value of his contract, his strong start to Eurobasket play with his native Finland could set the stage for a powerful rebound next season, resurrecting his trade value and reigniting the possibility of the Warriors making a shocking move. Markkanen, 28, has been one of the league's most valuable trade targets since his arrival in Utah, and, now, if he is able to string together some strong performances, he could certainly be on the move yet again. Lauri Markkanen is dominating Eurobasket play. Markkanen, coming off back-to-back stellar campaigns in 2022-23 and 2023-24, signed a monster 4-year, $195 million extension with Utah, securing himself as a cornerstone of the franchise's attempted rebuild. Yet, as a new regime enters the Jazz's front office, the departures of veterans Colin Sexton and John Collins have made it clear that the organization is yet again stripping their roster down to its young core, meaning that Markkanen is likely the next to be dealt. However, a down year in 2024-25, in which he averaged 19 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 1.5 assists, left many with doubts concerning the long-term viability of his game. As a 7-foot monster, Markkanen's primary value comes from his interior play and athleticism. Moreover, his three-point shot saw a sharp decline last season as well, dropping from the near 40% he saw the last 2 seasons to a measly 34.6%. Now, however, Markkanen has been arguably the best player through the preparation games and the early group stages of the Eurobasket tournament, perhaps setting himself up for a massive bounce-back once the NBA season begins in a few short weeks. Against Sweden, in perhaps Finland's most anticipated matchup of the group stage of the tournament, Markkanen almost single-handedly led his team to a narrow victory, posting 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists while shooting 50% from three-point range. Moreover, he had 3 of the 4 highest-scoring performances in the entire tournament during the preparation stage, putting up 48 and 31 in 2 separate performances against Germany and 42 in their matchup against Poland. Although his massive contract would make it an incredibly difficult proposition for the Warriors to get any sort of deal done, anything could be on the table if a full season of the Butler experiment does not bear fruit. If Markkanen can continue to prove his enduring value, do not be surprised if rumors surrounding Golden State begin to spring up yet again. Warriors' stance on Al Horford is crystal clear after shunning notable free agent. Things aren't changing. The Golden State Warriors are committed to Al Horford with their taxpayer mid-level exception, and that won't change despite a notable recent addition to the free agency market. Sharpshooter Malik Beasley re-emerged as a top free agent last week when it was reported that the 28-year-old is no longer a target in a federal gambling investigation. It had some believing that the Warriors could rethink their strategy when it comes to the taxpayer mid-level exception, but that doesn't appear to be the case according to recent reports on Thursday. The Warriors don't appear to have interest in Malik Beasley. Given Golden State's interest in a number of veteran guards this offseason, including DeAnthony Melton, Seth Curry, and Malcolm Brogdon, it wouldn't have been totally surprising if they arose as a potential suitor for Beasley. However, there's no obvious links between player and franchise, with NBA insider Jake Fisher of the Stein Line stating that the Cleveland Cavaliers, New York Knicks, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Beasley's most recent team, the Detroit Pistons, are the ones currently interested in his services. League sources say that 4 primary teams have been in contact with the sharpshooter's representation in hopes that he can eventually be signed. They are Cleveland, New York, Minnesota, and the incumbent Pistons, Fisher reported. Golden State's absence from that group would suggest they've shunned Beasley as a free agent option, having come off arguably a career-best year with the Pistons where he finished second to Peyton Pritchard in the NBA's sixth Man of the Year. Beasley averaged 16.3 points on 41.6% three-point shooting, also narrowly finishing second to Anthony Edwards in terms of made shots from beyond the arc. Warrior superstar Stephen Curry finished third, having missed top spot due to playing 9 games less than Edwards and 12 less than the allotted 82 that Beasley appeared in. Horford and Golden State have seemingly remained patient and committed to each other throughout this entire process, with the 39-year-old still awaiting a resolution on Jonathan Kuminga's future after being linked to the franchise in the hours leading up to the start of free agency 2 months ago. Things don't appear to be changing from either side, even if a notable player like Beasley is once again available. The Warriors clearly outlined their need for a starting center from the outset, identifying Horford as their one and only free agency target above the veteran minimum. Horford's patience could even be rewarded with a 2-year contract that includes a second-year player option, giving him the opportunity to retire next offseason or play on into what would be a 20th NBA season. Stephen Curry will unquestionably finish his career with Warriors. They need to get him another title. As the Golden State Warriors attempt to fill out their roster following the inevitable resolution to their contractual standoff with Jonathan Kuminga, their sole focus will be on furnishing superstar Stephen Curry with the supporting cast necessary to compete for another title. Moreover, according to NBA analyst Jared Greenberg, this will be just the latest development in an enduring quest to give Curry one more shot, showcasing with absolute certainty the fact that the most important player in franchise history will finish out his career in Golden State. Having won 4 championships in his career, Curry's eyes are certainly set on competing for one more, and the Warriors, until the end of his career, will do everything possible to make sure that can happen. While everyone knew that the Curry was likely entering the twilight of his career, this knowledge received definite confirmation upon the team's blockbuster acquisition of Jimmy Butler. Almost immediately after acquiring him, the front office signed him to a 2-year, $110 million contract extension, securing a definite championship window with the team's veteran trio intact. Greenberg, in remarking on the Warriors' presumed signings of players like Al Horford, said that their continued willingness to rebuild the roster is evidence of the urgency with which they are operating. This organization, on and off the record, there is one language they speak: do everything at all costs to protect and win for Steph Curry. While some stars, in the final years of their careers, may not warrant this type of focus from their front office, Curry is certainly still near the height of his powers. Last season, as a second-team All-NBA selection, Curry averaged 24.5 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 39.7% from beyond the arc. While these numbers represented his lowest scoring totals in almost a decade, the gravity he possesses on offense is still absolutely essential to Golden State's success. While the team has still displayed a desire to develop and showcase their young talent, especially given their willingness to grant larger roles to players like Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski, it is important to remember that their decision to go primarily after veteran acquisitions this offseason is more than a sign of their financial limitations. In essence, every move they make, including their presumed addition of Horford, is made with the intention of giving Curry what he needs to propel the team back into contention, and the organization's sole focus, while sometimes misguided, should be reassuring to all fans of the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga has a surprising case for the Warriors to avoid trading him. He could be a winning player given the right circumstances. As the Golden State Warriors have attempted to find a contractual resolution with restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga, it has become increasingly clear that the most likely scenario is that he is traded at some point next season. While, given Kuminga's desire for a new destination and a longer runway, that is still probably the most suitable outcome, Monty Poole of NBC Sports Bay Area believes that Kuminga demonstrated in the playoffs that he can be a winning player, a fact that could ultimately entice the organization to figure out his fit in the rotation. Kuminga, 22, has certainly had his ups and downs during his short tenure with the Warriors organization. Yet, if the two parties can somehow figure this out, it is within the realm of possibility that Kuminga could be a playoff difference-maker for a team severely lacking athleticism. Kuminga's scoring and intensity could make him a winning player. Poole, in discussing what Kuminga's potential reception by the fans will be upon his presumable return next season, also made a bold claim concerning the young forward's playoff performances, saying, "I do think that he can be a winning player and he can be one of the guys within the system." In the playoffs, Kuminga did his part to try to help the Warriors win a game. He guarded Anthony Edwards as well as anybody on that roster, and when the Warriors were struggling to get buckets it was Jimmy, Butler, and Kuminga. Moreover, Poole goes on to argue that, in a league filled with lengthy, athletic wings, Kuminga could be a valuable asset in the short term for which the team has no readily available replacement. On the one hand, the issues with Kuminga's fit on the roster have been well noted since the team's acquisition of Jimmy Butler. As a player without a perimeter shot or an elite defensive game, he simply cannot be played for big minutes alongside players like Butler and Draymond Green. Yet, when circumstances get dire as a result of injury or fatigue, Kuminga could become the guy that is able to explode offensively, perhaps propelling the team toward victory more often than not if he is used in the correct role. In the 4 playoff games against Minnesota in which Kuminga played more than 20 minutes, he scored 18, 30, 23, and 26 points respectively, monster output for a player that had been cut almost entirely out of the rotation just a month beforehand. While there is still massive uncertainty surrounding what Kuminga's return will look like, Poole certainly has a point. As long as he is on the roster, the team must not give up on the prospect of him becoming a difference-maker in complement to their veteran trio. Ex-NBA star shares harsh reality for Draymond Green, Warriors. When Draymond Green decides to call it a career, there's no doubt the Golden State Warriors star will be immortalized in the Hall of Fame. One of the greatest defenders of all time, Green has anchored the Warriors' defense en route to 4 NBA championships, while also playing the role of a playmaker on offense. Even with Green coming in 3rd place in Defensive Player of the Year voting as a 35-year-old, the reality is that fans should expect some regression from the Warriors star. With the Jonathan Kuminga situation dragging on with Golden State, there's no telling what the roster could look like next season. Al Horford is expected to join, but anything can change over the next couple of weeks. Even if they do add Horford, that doesn't rule out the possibility of the Warriors using Green as a center in situational lineups. While Green has done so before, it will surely be a tougher task as he ages and centers around the league continue to improve. The Warriors and Green might have confidence in those situations, but one former NBA star doesn't. Jeff Teague expresses doubts with Draymond. In a recent episode of his show, Club 520 podcast, ex-NBA All-Star Jeff Teague expressed his doubts about Golden State trying to utilize Green as a center. "I think they've got to get a big with that small ball lineup. I'm a fan of Draymond, but I just don't think that's going to hold up anymore. He can't guard Jokic and all them dudes for a long period of time. I just don't think that can hold up anymore. Jimmy is playing the 4, all that small stuff. Not with OKC having Chet at the 4 and whoever they want to play at the 5, Teague shared. A lot of Golden State's success over the years has come in lineups with Green as the center, focusing on emphasizing spacing and allowing Green to match up with top big men around the league. However, as mentioned by Teague, an aging Green going up against the likes of Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, and many others will be draining. Even if Golden State adds Horford, they'll probably still need some more help in the frontcourt if they want to be serious contenders. There's always the possibility of Quinton Post or Tracy Jackson-Davis taking another step, but they might need to be active at the trade deadline to avoid it becoming a problem in the postseason.